Here is a number that should stop you in your tracks. The average American household that switches their primary grocery shopping to Aldi saves somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 every single year compared to shopping at conventional grocery chains. $3,000 to $4,000. That is a vacation. That is a car payment for a year. That is real money. But here's what the savings headlines always miss. The biggest value at Aldi isn't in the staples you already know about. It's not the eggs. It's not the milk. It's not the basics everyone grabs on autopilot. The real deals, the ones that can actually change how you eat and how you feel, are hiding in the new items. The items most people walk right past because they don't know they're there. Today I am walking you through 15 brand new ALDI deals for May 2026. Not 10, not 12, 15. And I am going to tell you exactly which ones are worth throwing in your cart, which ones you should compare before committing. And because I think you deserve honesty, one item on these shelves right now that I would personally leave behind and why. We are going to cover the protein wins, the pantry upgrades, the summer-ready snacks, and one quiet reformulation that Aldi made without making any announcements at all, which tells you everything you need to know about where this store is heading. If you are new here, welcome. I do one of these comprehensive Aldi hauls every single month. I buy the items, I try them at home, I run the numbers, and I give you the real verdict. If that sounds like something you want in your life, hit that subscribe button right now, and you will never miss one. Let's get into it. Item 1. Organic Cheddar Bratwurst. The $4.95 grill season opener. May is here, which means one thing in most of the country: the grill comes out of hibernation. And the timing of this first item could not be more perfect. Aldi just dropped organic cheddar bratwurst and organic chicken bratwurst in the cooler section, and these are not your average ballpark brats. We are talking organic chicken as the protein base, organic cheddar cheese folded in, white pepper, real spices, and a nutritional label that actually holds up to scrutiny. 14 grams of protein per serving. Zero net sugar, despite the raw sugar you see listed. It cooks off entirely. These are keto-friendly. They are paleo-friendly. And the ingredient list reads the way food ingredients should read, things you recognize. Now here is where this gets interesting from a value standpoint. A bratwurst with comparable organic credentials at Whole Foods or a specialty butcher is going to run you anywhere from $8 to $12 for a similar package. Aldi is doing it for $4.95. That works out to roughly 41 cents per brat. I cook them on a medium-high grill, skin side down first, let them develop a deep brown without rushing it, and the cheddar started working its way out of the casing in the best possible way. The flavor was genuinely impressive. Pro tip: pair these with the 90-second quinoa and brown rice packet from the pantry section. Warm that in a little bone broth, plate the bratwurst on top. You now have complex carbohydrates, complete protein, and a meal that took you under 10 minutes. The total cost of that plate is somewhere around $3. That is the kind of math that makes Aldi worth the trip. And speaking of plant-based protein that costs almost nothing per serving, the next item might be the single best value in the entire store this month. Item 2. Sofrito beans packets. The 58-cent protein secret. $2.19. That is what you are paying for a packet of Delio Sofrito beans at Aldi right now, and they have two varieties, the Tex-Mex pinto beans and the black bean version. I have spent $4 on a can of beans at regular grocery stores my entire adult life and never thought twice about it. This packet made me think twice. Here is why these matter nutritionally. A half-cup serving contains 8 grams of protein and 6 grams of dietary fiber. That protein-to-fiber density ratio rivals products that are being sold in the supplement aisle for 4 or 5 times the price. The base is extra virgin olive oil, no seed oils, no mystery fats, and the seasoning is straightforward: tomatoes, jalapenos, and real spices. These are cooked and ready. You warm them in a pan with a splash of bone broth for 2 minutes, and you are done. At $2.19 a packet with roughly 3 to 4 servings, you are looking at about 58 cents per serving of a nutritionally dense, clean ingredient. I warmed these alongside the bratwurst from item 1 and the combination was genuinely satisfying. The kind of meal that does not feel like a budget meal even though it absolutely is. Pro tip: keep 2 or 3 packets of these in your pantry at all times. When you have nothing planned for dinner, a packet of sofrito beans over some of the legume rice we are going to talk about in a few minutes. And I want to plant a seed right here before we go further. There is one item later on this list that Aldi quietly reformulated without making any announcement about it. A significant ingredient swap that most shoppers have not noticed yet. I will get to it, stay with me. Item 3. Wild Alaskan sockeye salmon. The farm-raised conversation we need to have. I need to tell you something that might be a little uncomfortable if you have been buying Aldi salmon regularly. For years, the salmon at most Aldi stores was exclusively farm-raised. And farm-raised salmon, to put it plainly, is a different product than wild salmon in ways that genuinely matter. Wild Alaskan USA sockeye salmon is now in the Aldi seafood case for $13.99 a pound, and that is a meaningful development worth understanding properly. Here is the color story first, because it is not what most people think. The vivid orange-pink of farm-raised salmon actually comes from synthetic astaxanthin, a pigment added to the feed specifically to simulate the color that wild salmon get naturally from eating krill. Without that additive, farm-raised salmon flesh is gray. Wild salmon earns its deep red-orange color from its diet in the wild. It is not cosmetic. It reflects what the animal actually ate. The USDA has confirmed that wild-caught salmon contains approximately 35% more omega-3 fatty acids than farmed equivalents. Those are verified numbers from nutritional analysis data. Now the price comparison. Wild Alaskan sockeye at Whole Foods runs between $22 and $28 a pound. Trader Joe's typically runs around $14.99. Aldi is coming in at $13.99. That is a meaningful gap. Pro tip: hot pan, skin side down, cook 70% of the way through on medium-high heat, then flip and drop the heat to medium-low for the final 30%. The skin gets crispy and the interior stays flaky and moist. Do not rush this fish. It does not need it. Item 4. The Walking Tamale. A $1.99 portable meal that impressed me. I was skeptical. I want to be honest about that up front. A portable tamale for $1.99 from a grocery store cooler does not sound like something that is going to be good. And then I tried it. And I was wrong. This is a traditional corn masa tamale, non-GMO corn specifically, filled with beans and seasoned with a pepper combination that is actually thoughtfully constructed. Guajillo peppers, chile de árbol, and pasilla peppers. That trio is not random. It is the flavor base of a traditional Mexican mole-inspired sauce, a combination that professional chefs use because each pepper contributes something different. Guajillo brings mild heat and a fruity depth. Chile de árbol brings the fire. Pasilla brings an earthy, almost chocolatey undertone. The fact that a $1.99 grocery item is built on that flavor architecture, 6 grams of protein and 5 grams of fiber for $1.99. 30 seconds in the microwave. Pair it with the sofrito beans from item 2, and you have a complete Mexican-inspired lunch for under $4 with real flavor and real nutrition. Now hold on. Before we get to item 5, I need to stop and explain something bigger, because what is happening with the next item is not just about one product. It is about a shift in how Aldi is building its private label line. And once you see it, you are going to start noticing it everywhere in the store. Item 5. Reformulated organic hummus. The seed oil swap story. Aldi just did something that many $12 hummus brands at specialty stores still have not done. They quietly swapped the oil in their entire organic hummus line. All 3 varieties, the plain organic, the garlic, and the roasted red pepper, previously contained sunflower oil. If you pick up a container right now, that label reads organic extra virgin olive oil. That is not a small thing. Here is the nutritional reason this matters. Sunflower oil is high in omega-6 linoleic acid. Most Americans already consume far too much omega-6 relative to omega-3 in their diet. This is a well-established nutritional concern with links to systemic inflammation. Extra virgin olive oil is rich in oleocanthal and oleic acid, both of which have anti-inflammatory properties in the research literature. Swapping one for the other in a food you eat regularly is not a trivial change. What is interesting about this is that Aldi made no announcement. No marketing campaign. No new and improved sticker on the front. They just changed the formula. This is part of a broader, quiet, clean ingredient movement happening across Aldi's private label lineup, driven by consumer pressure and the rising demand for cleaner grocery options at accessible price points. Keep watching this trend. It is not finished. Pro tip: spread this hummus on Aldi's organic sourdough boule, a bread we will talk about at item 15, and the combination is worth waiting. $2.59 for a clean ingredient hummus, when comparable products at specialty stores run $6 to $12. Item 6. Barissimo Coffee Concentrate. The $1.8 per cup cafe upgrade. Cold brew concentrate at Starbucks. 1 drink. $6 minimum. This bottle from Aldi's Barissimo line makes 6 drinks. Do that math and then tell me you need to keep stopping at the drive-thru. The ingredient list on this concentrate is 2 items: water and Arabica coffee. That is it. The cold brew extraction process, steeping coffee grounds in cold water for an extended period rather than brewing with heat, is widely noted to produce a coffee with lower acidity. One thing worth noting transparently: the caffeine content is not listed on the label. Cold brew concentrates in this category typically run between 150 and 200 milligrams of caffeine per serving at a standard 1-to-1 dilution ratio, based on industry averages, but that is an estimate, not a verified figure for this specific product. If caffeine sensitivity matters to you, start with a smaller serving and see how you feel. Pro tip: 6 ounces of concentrate, 6 ounces of cold water, a full glass of ice. That is a genuinely excellent iced coffee at about $1.08 a cup. For the road, you can take the concentrate bottle directly. It travels well, and you can mix it anywhere. Item 7. Chickpea and red lentil rice. The pasta alternative that thinks it's a side dish. This box looks like a box of rice. The name suggests rice. It is not rice in any meaningful sense of the word. What Aldi is selling here under the Simply Nature organic line is a pasta-adjacent product made entirely from chickpea flour and red lentil flour. 100% legume-derived. And that distinction changes everything about its nutritional profile. Here is why this matters. Most of the high-protein pasta products you will find at other grocery stores, the ones marketed specifically for their protein content, are typically a blend of 50% legume flour and 50% conventional wheat or semolina. They get to advertise a protein content that sounds impressive, but is achieved by blending, not by actually replacing the base ingredient. This Aldi product is the full thing. All legumes. Which is why you are getting 9 grams of protein and 3 grams of fiber per serving out of something that looks and functions like a simple rice side dish. Pro tip: follow the package directions to the letter on this one. Legume-based flours behave differently than grain flours when boiled. Do not rush it. When it is done, fluff it with a drizzle of olive oil and a squeeze of lemon. The result is a clean, complete side dish in under 10 minutes that pairs with almost anything on today's list. If you are finding this month's breakdown useful, here is a quick favor: hit the subscribe button. I do this every single month. Comprehensive, honest, price-verified Aldi hauls, and May's list is genuinely one of the best I have put together. Now let's keep going, because the next item is a summer win that is hiding in the freezer section. Item 8. Frozen cotton candy grapes. The one-ingredient frozen dessert. One ingredient. The ingredient is grapes. And yet somehow these taste like a carnival. If you have never had a cotton candy grape before, let me give you the actual science behind why they exist, because it is more interesting than the name suggests. Cotton candy grapes are a patented variety developed by the Grapery, a California breeding company. They are not genetically modified, they are the product of traditional selective breeding that took years to develop. The target was a grape with a naturally elevated sugar profile and a vanilla-tinged aromatic compound. The result is real. The sweetness is not artificial. The flavor is bred into the fruit. Now here is the Aldi-specific trick. When you freeze these, the water content inside the grape forms ice crystals, which concentrates the sweetness and creates a texture that is somewhere between a frozen grape and a fruit sorbet. Cut them in half while frozen, and you can see that crystallized center. It is visually beautiful and the texture is genuinely special. This is a no added sugar frozen dessert that kids love and that costs $3.89 for 12 ounces. Comparable frozen fruit products with added sugar or syrups at conventional grocery stores run $4 to $6. Pro tip: for younger kids, have them before serving, both for portioning and to make the frozen center. They become visually interactive, which kids respond to. Okay, I need to pause right here because the next item involves some real science that I want to explain properly, because it changes how you understand one of the most ancient food preservation tricks in human history. And Aldi is selling a version of it for under $5. Item 9. Whipped honey. The spreadable science of controlled crystallization. Regular honey runs. You know this. You have put it on toast and watched it immediately slide off the edge and onto the counter. Whipped honey, also called creamed honey, solves that problem, and the method behind it is genuinely fascinating. Here is how it works. All honey will eventually crystallize on its own. That is just what honey does over time. The traditional whipped honey process accelerates and controls that crystallization by two things: seeding the liquid honey with extremely fine pre-crystallized honey particles, and holding the temperature at around 57 degrees Fahrenheit during the setting process. At that specific temperature, the crystals that form are very fine, not the large, gritty crystals you get from honey left in a cold cabinet, and the result is a smooth, spreadable, stable product with no additives whatsoever. It is pure honey in a different physical state. Now, the sourcing note matters here. This product specifies U.S. honey, and that is worth pointing out. The FDA has issued import alerts over the years related to honey from certain international sources, concerns about adulteration with corn syrup, and the presence of antibiotics not approved for U.S. food use. U.S.-sourced honey, at this price point, is a quality signal worth recognizing. Pro tip: spread this on Aldi's whole grain bread right after toasting. The residual heat from the toast slightly melts the surface of the whipped honey, creating something that tastes caramelized and rich without any actual additional sugar or effort. $4.99 for 12 ounces. Comparable whipped honey at farmers markets typically runs $10 to $14. Item 10. Wild-caught bay scallops. The seafood category you have been sleeping on. Scallops have two reputations that stop people from buying them. They are expensive, and they are easy to ruin. Aldi just addressed both of those concerns simultaneously with the addition of wild-caught Patagonian bay scallops at $8.99 a pound. Let me clear up the scallop confusion first, because most people do not realize there are two distinct products being sold under the name scallop in most grocery stores. Sea scallops are large, meaty, and the ones you see in fine dining presentations. Bay scallops are smaller, sweeter, and actually more forgiving for home cooking. They require less precision in the pan and are significantly less prone to becoming rubbery if you are slightly off on your timing. For someone who wants to cook scallops at home but does not feel confident about it, bay scallops are the better starting point. And at $8.99 a pound versus $14 to $18 per pound at specialty seafood counters, the price difference is substantial. Pro tip: defrost overnight in the refrigerator, never in warm water. Then, and this is the single most important step, pat them completely dry with paper towels before they go anywhere near a hot pan. Any moisture on the surface prevents the Maillard reaction from happening, which means no sear, which means gray and sad instead of golden and beautiful. Avocado oil or butter, high heat 60 to 90 seconds per side. Do not touch them while they sear. Walk away. Item 11. Grass-fed skirt steak. The grill master's secret weapon at $9 a pound. If you have been buying ribeye or New York strip as your go-to grilling steak, I need to introduce you to skirt steak, specifically the 100% grass-fed version that just showed up in Aldi's meat case for $9 a pound. Skirt steak is the secret weapon of serious home grill cooks. Here is why. The grain of the muscle runs in a very open, loose pattern compared to more premium cuts, and that loose grain structure means it absorbs marinades at a dramatically faster rate. A marinade that would need 4 to 6 hours to penetrate a ribeye works its way into a skirt steak in 30 minutes. You get deep, developed flavor in a fraction of the time. Multiple peer-reviewed studies have confirmed that 100% grass-fed beef carries a higher concentration of conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, than grain-finished beef, and CLA is associated with a range of potential health benefits in the research literature. Pro tip: lime juice, garlic, cumin, a pinch of salt. 30 minutes. Screaming hot grill. 2 to 3 minutes per side. Pull it. Rest it for 5 minutes. And then this is non-negotiable: slice it against the grain. Skirt steak sliced with the grain is chewy and difficult. Sliced against the grain it is tender, juicy, and genuinely impressive. $9 a pound for grass-fed skirt steak is an exceptional value by any market comparison. Now we are getting close to the end of this month's list, and I made a promise at the top of this video. I told you I would give you one item on these shelves right now that I think you should consider skipping. We are almost there. But first, one more item from the protein section that raises an honest question. Item 12. Grass-fed burger patties. Good product, worth doing the math first. These are good. I want to be clear about that before I complicate it. The 100% grass-fed beef burger patties, pre-formed and ready to go at $6.49 a pound, are a legitimate product with solid ingredients. The fat ratio is approximately 85% lean to 15% fat, which is the ideal burger ratio for a juicy patty. And for anyone who simply wants to open a package and put something directly on the grill, these work exactly as advertised. But here is the math question I want you to sit with. Preformed patties carry a convenience premium. Based on typical Aldi pricing, raw 85/15 grass-fed ground beef runs roughly $1 to $1.50 less per pound than the preformed version. What you are paying extra for in the preformed patties is the shaping. That is it. The beef quality is comparable. If you own a kitchen scale and can spare 5 minutes, buying the raw ground beef and pressing your own patties is meaningfully cheaper and you get the same grass-fed quality. If you do not want to deal with that, or you are cooking for a crowd and convenience matters, these are still an excellent deal compared to any equivalent grass-fed preformed patty at a conventional grocery store. I just want you to make the choice consciously, rather than by default. And now I promised you this moment. Here is an item on Aldi's shelves right now that I am going to be direct about. This is the one I would leave behind. Item 13. Mateo's Gourmet Salsa. The premium-priced option I'd skip. There is a new salsa on the Aldi shelf. It has an attractive label. The name Mateo's Gourmet Salsa sounds premium. The price, at $4.88, reflects that positioning. And the ingredients are genuinely clean: tomatoes, jalapenos, vinegar, real spices, nothing artificial. Here is my honest verdict. Leave it. Not because it is bad. It is not bad. I tasted it. It is a perfectly fine salsa. But reach into the shelf below or beside it and pick up the Simply Nature organic thick and chunky salsa. Check the ingredients on both jars. You are going to find yourself looking at two lists that are nearly identical in composition and quality. And the Simply Nature version costs approximately $2 to $2.50 less. This is an important principle for navigating the Aldi Finds section in general. New items with premium branding are not automatically better than Aldi's existing house brand. When two products share 90% of the same ingredient architecture and the taste profiles are indistinguishable, with the money you save by choosing Simply Nature, you are halfway to the scallops. The exception, as always, is if you see the Mateos on clearance at the end of a Finds rotation cycle. At a discount, the calculation changes. At full price, it does not. Item 14. The Aldi Finds system. What no one else will tell you. I want to use this second to last item not to highlight a specific product, but to give you the framework that makes every future Aldi trip more valuable. Because understanding how the Aldi Finds system works is worth more than any individual item on today's list. Here is what is actually happening. Aldi operates on a retail model borrowed directly from European discount grocery chains, specifically the treasure hunt format. Items in the Finds section are purchased in deliberately limited quantities. They are not restocked after they sell through, and the selection rotates on a fixed schedule. This scarcity is not accidental. It is a calculated retail strategy designed to increase visit frequency, because if you know there is something new and limited every week, you have a reason to come back every week. Aldi operates over 2,400 stores across the United States. As of 2025, making it one of the largest and fastest growing grocery chains in the country. And the Finds section is a core part of why their customer loyalty metrics are disproportionately strong relative to their advertising spend. Pro tip: check the Aldi website or the Aldi app at the beginning of each week before your shopping trip. Upcoming Finds items are listed in advance. Screenshot the ones you want, note when they drop, and plan to arrive early in the week for the freshest and most complete selection. This one habit will transform how much value you extract from every single trip. Item 15. The organic sourdough boule. The sleeper hit of the store. I know what you are thinking. Bread. He saved the last item for bread. But I need you to hear me out on this one, because there is a meaningful difference between what Aldi is selling in this sourdough boule and what most grocery stores call sourdough, and that difference matters for how your body actually processes what you eat. Real sourdough bread is made through genuine long fermentation using a live starter culture. During that fermentation process, naturally occurring bacteria produce lactic and acetic acids, and those acids partially break down the gluten structure of the dough. Multiple nutrition studies have documented that genuine fermented sourdough produces a measurably lower glycemic response than conventional bread made with commercial yeast. Your blood sugar rises more slowly and more gradually after eating real sourdough than after eating regular bread. Here is the catch, and this is the part that almost no one talks about in bread content. A significant portion of bread sold in grocery stores as sourdough is not actually fermented. It is conventional bread with vinegar or flavoring added to simulate the sour taste. The shortcut is legal, and the resulting product is not harmful, but it does not carry the fermentation benefits of real sourdough. When you look at a sourdough label, check for the words sourdough starter or cultured wheat flour in the ingredients. That is your signal that actual fermentation took place. Aldi's organic sourdough boule holds up to that check. And at approximately $4 to $5, compared to $7 to $10 for equivalent artisan sourdough at Whole Foods, it is once again the Aldi value story told well. Pro tip: toast a thick slice until the crust is deeply golden, not pale, genuinely golden. Then immediately spread the whipped honey from item 9 across the surface. The residual heat partially melts the top layer of the honey and creates something that is sweet, complex. That is the item 9 and item 15 combo that I want you to try this month. Alright, 15 items. Let me give you the bigger picture before I let you go. What I see happening at Aldi right now in May of 2026 is not just a good month for deals, it is evidence of a direction. The hummus reformulation, the arrival of wild-caught seafood, the grass-fed beef expansion, the organic grain alternatives, these are not random additions. Aldi is systematically moving its private label line toward cleaner ingredients and higher nutritional standards while keeping the price architecture. That is a genuinely difficult thing to do at this scale, and they deserve credit for doing it. They are not perfect. There are still items on these shelves I would not buy, and the salsa comparison today is a small example of the principle. The best Aldi shoppers are the ones who know the difference. Here is your May 2026 shopping priority list in brief. The organic cheddar bratwurst and wild Alaskan sockeye salmon for your protein anchors. The sofrito beans and chickpea lentil rice for your clean carb pantry backup. The reformulated hummus and the sourdough boule for your snack combination. The whipped honey because you deserve something genuinely special at $5. The frozen cotton candy grapes for the kids, or honestly for yourself. The coffee concentrate to end your morning drive-through habit. And the bay scallops and skirt steak if you are ready to make a dinner that feels like a restaurant meal at a grocery store price. That is 15 items. All new. All worth knowing about. Now before you go, I am genuinely curious about one thing. I want to know which item from today's list you are most excited to try. But instead of asking you to type it out, I want to make this easy. Drop number 1 in the comments if you are most excited about the protein items, the salmon, the brats, the steak, the scallops. Drop number 2 if the pantry and snack items are your focus, the hummus, the honey, the sourdough. And if you are somewhere in between, just drop both. I read every single comment and I used this feedback to build next month's list. And speaking of next month, June's haul is going to be different from anything I've done before. Aldi has announced a category expansion that I have not seen covered anywhere yet in any haul channel. I am not going to tell you what it is until the video goes live, but if you are subscribed, you will be the first to know. Make sure that subscribe button is hit and the notification bell is on. I will see you in June.